Hey everybody, Ed Conarchy back with this week's version of Conarchys Corner. Hope everybody's doing well. Well, hey, I talked about it last week. There were two big news stories, and one of them took off the day after I recorded my last video blog, and that is the first-time homebuyer tax credit. And it was passed by the House and the Senate and signed into law by the President Friday evening, I believe, is when President Obama had signed it. So let's go through the specifics on it, because I told everybody I would keep you up to date and let you know what happened with it. Big news, because there were three major changes. The first thing it did is it extends the deadline for purchasing and closing on a new home. Remember, the deadline was supposed to be the end of this month, November 30th. Now, with this new law in place, it's now been extended that you have to go to contract on your new house by April 30th of 2010. So you need to sign a contract by that date and close on the transaction by June 30th, 2010. So the important two dates here: you have to sign a home contract to buy a new home by the by the 30th of April 2010, and close on that transaction by the 30th of June 2010. So that's the first thing it did. It extended the deadlines. What it authorizes, the second thing it does here, is now authorizes the credit for actual long-term homeowners, is the term that they're using here, that are buying a replacement principal residence. So in this case, now it doesn't have to be just first-time homebuyers. So not only do we have an extension, we also have an add-on that it's going to include. The word that the IRS is using here is long-term homeowners buying a replacement principal residence. And here's what they're saying, is that you have to have lived in a home for 5 consecutive years out of the last 8. As long as you lived in a home, a primary residence, out of the last 8 years, 5 consecutive years, you're considered then what they term here as a long-term homeowner. And if you go and buy a new home, and again, go to contract by April 30th, 2010 and close on it by June 30th, 2010, you can receive up to a $6,500 credit. It's not the $8,000 for first-time homebuyers, but it's close. It's $6,500. So the $8,000 still remains in effect for the first-time homebuyers. Now $6,500 for the, I call move-up buyers. A lot of people call them move-up buyers, but the term that the IRS is using is long-term homeowners buying a replacement principal residence. And one last piece of the puzzle, these are the three big pieces. The last piece is it raises the income limitations for homeowners claiming the credit. If you remember what we've talked about in the past before, this is a great program, but there were restrictions on income. It was $75,000 for singles and $150,000 for marrieds. So if you made more than $75,000, you didn't get the full credit. You were phased out, and then at $95,000 it was completely gone for you if you were single. If you're a single filee, that's been raised. Now it's $125,000 up to $145,000. So you can make all the way up to $125,000 now and still qualify for the full $8,000 first-time homebuyer credit and the $6,500 for the move-up credit. And it phases out till eventually at $145,000 for an individual, you no longer will get any of the money. It's completely phased out. Now, for married couples filing jointly, how it works is it used to be $150,000. Now that's been up to $125,000, and it's phased out at $245,000. And basically, you lose a little bit as you go up to where eventually at the $245,000 if you're, and these are all adjusted gross income numbers. So if your adjusted gross income for a married couple is less than $225,000, you'll get the full credit. Either way you go, first time home buyer, again, it's $8,000. The move up buyer is $6,500. The $245,000 mark is where all of that credit will go away, where you'll be completely phased out. So to rehash here exactly what we've got one, the deadline's been extended from November 30th to April 30th on contract signed. Must close by June 30th, both of 2010. We now have a new credit of $6,500 available for homeowners who have lived in a home 5 consecutive years out of the last 8 to purchase a replacement of that primary residence. And the income has been increased. It's been increased by $50,000 for singles and $75,000 for married. So big news. If you have any questions on any of this, let us know. This is effective. It was signed into law on Friday, November 6th by President Obama. It is now effective with all these new changes from November 7th forward. So November 7th forward, you'll qualify for all the new rules. If you sign prior to November 7th on a contract, you still have to go through the old rules that were in place, the old income restrictions, and just money for first-time home buyers, not for principal residence replacements of move-up home buyers. All right, so that's the extension. We talked about it. We prepared you for it. It's all news that's out there. Still more details to follow. That's the high level. The IRS website has not had anything updated over the last week, so I can't bring anything more. Once I do, we'll let you know. Let's then talk about the homeowner affordability and stability plan, the refinance program that's been out there. We've talked about this on a lot of episodes. I've got great news announcing the Freddie Mac option to be able to take advantage of this. If your loan was secured by Freddie Mac, you've known we've been talking about this for probably 6 months now. We couldn't help you. You had to go through the same servicer that holds your mortgage today, and we saw those servicers charging ridiculously high amounts, in excess of $5,000 in many cases. Well, good news, starting this week, the beginning of this week, we now have gotten the green light, and I just started locking everybody in. All the people that were patient and holding in that waiting pattern, thanks for bearing with us. We can now do that. So let me refresh. If your loan is securitized by Freddie Mac and now by Fannie Mae, either one of those two, we can refinance your home. And take into an example where someone bought a home or refinanced their home several years ago and they had 20% equity in their house and didn't pay PMI, but now with the decline in home values, doesn't have 20% equity. This program allows you to still refinance and not have to pay PMI through the Freddie Mac Open Access or the Fannie Mae Refinance Plus program. We can do both of them now. We can take care of you, keep your costs low. And interest rates are very, very low right now. So this is the time to strike while the iron's hot. And fortunately, bite my tongue, fortunately, rates have dipped while this program has been released, and we have a perfect crossroads to take full advantage of this. So this is, I believe, the absolute perfect time to refinance. I think it's the perfect time to buy a home if you've been in the market to buy. We've got huge supply. You've got your pick of the litter out there, historically low interest rates, and this new tax credit for either first-time home buyers or move-up buyers. And now we've got interest rates at an all-time low in both programs. Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac are now online, and we can do both of them to take advantage of the low interest rates. So as you can imagine, it's very, very busy here. We're trying to get everybody, so bear with us, get a hold of us, and we should be able to get back to you very, very promptly so that we can take advantage and get everybody in before this goes away. And it will go away. I keep talking about this, that we're back to the lows that we've experienced in May. In May of 2009 were the historic 40-year lows. If you remember what happened in May, if you've been following me and working with me, May we got 30-year fixed rates down to the low fives and bounced off of 5%. And within 30 days, by June, they were up at 6%. We've now come all the way down. We worked our way down, and now we're going to hit those lows again here in the low fives. My prediction is they're going to do another thing like they did in June. They will jump up to 6%. When? I don't know. Sooner than later. And why do I say this? I'm pretty confident because of all the inflation talk that's out there, but most importantly that the Federal Reserve has only committed to the end of March of 2010 to artificially keep interest rates low. So their commitment is up with 3-4 months left here. And what happens is, guys, the market goes up in anticipation of the moves, not after the move happens. It's always buy the rumor, sell the fact, if you know anything about lingo when it comes to the marketplace. So I think you're looking at gift horse in the mouth if you're not taking full advantage of these rates right now where they're at, to either take advantage of the refinance programs that are out there or to take advantage of buying your first home or replacing your principal residence because of the money that's out there from the IRS on top of it. So that's the latest and greatest. So great news, the extension of the Homebuyer Tax, the first-time Homebuyer Tax Credit, the add-on of the principal replacement credit for people who own homes, the great news that we've let more people do this now on the higher income restrictions, that they've been raised, that the Freddie Mac program is now available. This is great news. This has been 6 months in the making. And then that rates are low and will be, I believe, we'll only look back at these days and go, wow, I wish we could have those days over again, because I believe it's only going to be up from here. So take advantage, strike while the iron's hot. If you have any questions on the tax credit, email us, call us. If you have any questions on the refinance possibilities of Fannie or Freddie, or even who holds your loan, who securitizes it, is it Fannie Mae, is it Freddie Mac, let us know on that. And do it now. because I think it's going to be forever hold your peace if you don't take advantage of these low rates where they're at today. That's the wrap up for the week. A lot of news. We've been busy. Call us if you need us. We'll be happy to help you as well. Have a great weekend.